Hello everybody, it's everyone's favourite feisty feline, Xephas Gracepaws here. If you're new around here, please subscribe and ring that bell for more furry fandom related content. Also, why not join my Discord community, link in the description. So today I'm going to start a new series called Rantpaws. Now this is a bit different to my other series in that this is not very heavily scripted. I've got some bullet points and I'm going to go into like various topics and stuff. But today, you know what really ruffles my fur? Wow, that sounded way more sexual than I hoped. No, I'm going to go with it. You know what really ruffles my fur? FURAFFINITY. So the first point that I'm going to address about FURAFFINITY and why I really hate that website is because, firstly, it's super old. I mean, the website came out in 2005 and honestly, it doesn't look like much has changed. I mean, the UI, the whole sort of experience of the website is super old, horrible layout. It's super confusing, especially like for newer members. It's like, I remember when I first joined the website, I kind of had no real idea how to do anything. I didn't know what notes were. I didn't know what sort of all the different mechanics of the website are. I obviously eventually learned that notes were the same as sort of private messages, but it needs a lot of work to make it anywhere near the point of good and usable. Unfortunately, it's not there yet. It's still super old. It needs an update. Getting into it like as a new user is really bad in the sense that, as well as being confusing, it's just super slow to find anything. Especially the search is not the best, to say the least. It leaves a lot to be desired. It's just super complex and difficult to navigate, and it doesn't lend itself to what it's trying to be. I mean, I can see that the website is probably kind of trying to be almost like a marketplace for furry art, or at least a kind of social network for artists to share their work and meet potential customers. It kind of falls down in that there's no easy way to search for people who are currently making work, who are open for commissions. There's no easy way of searching through YCHs other than really kind of type YCH into the search bar and kind of hope that you find something you like there. There's no real way of selecting pricing. So say you've got a budget that you need to adhere to, so say you want a YCH but you've got a $20 budget. There's nowhere to put that in, so you just end up searching through everything. It's just really poor for what it's trying to be. It could be so much better. Like, for a website, I would love to see something more like Fiverr, for example. Fiverr's got a really good way of doing things. It's got different tiers of pricing. Even if they didn't add that to FURAFFINITY, they could add, a lot of the other features from Fiverr, like the searching, things like that. It would just make it so much better, really bring it back, sort of, quite frankly, bring it into the 21st century, because it's a 2005 website, but it looks like it would fit in the 90s, quite frankly. For the longest time, I've kind of thought that maybe they need to change it a bit and sort of adopt that more kind of almost Fiverr mentality of having like a proper working search, be able to select your budget, maybe even have a few sort of types of things. So like, you can select between YCHs, you can select between pure commissions. It's just it's a horrible way of doing things. Super cluttered, super complex, needs a lot of work, but it just seems like, so it's currently owned by IMVU Inc., who own the video game IMVU, and they've just not really done anything with it. They're just kind of leaving it there as a cash cow of sorts. So yeah, basically it needs a lot of work in terms of like the design of the website itself, but that's not the biggest problem. Scams, shams, and flim-flams. I mostly just named it that because I kind of like the rhyming scheme. However, honestly, this website, FURAFFINITY, is horrible for scamming. Like, I've been scammed on there 3 times now, I think, 2 or 3 times. And yeah, I'm kind of honestly at the point where I'm like, I'm never using that website again for doing YCHs or commissions, because I've been scammed too many times. Like, the website itself doesn't have a proprietary system. Like, I compare it once again to Fiverr. Fiverr has a system where you pay Fiverr the money and then when you're happy, the money gets transferred to the artist once the job is complete. However, with FURAFFINITY, there's nothing like that at all, really. You just kind of need to do it yourself through PayPal and stuff. I guess, you know, other payment methods are available, but there's no security there, really. There's also kind of a big scam going around that I fell victim to twice. I know it kind of seems a bit weird I fell victim to it twice, but I didn't realise I'd fallen victim to it the first time before I fell victim to it the second time. So the way they do it is you'll ask them about like a YCH or a commission that they're doing. They'll agree to it, they'll take all of your details, they'll take the reference, so it looks as though something's actually going to happen, and they'll send you the request for money. They'll send it through a PayPal invoice. Now, this is a really, really poor way of operating, especially if you're on the sort of receiving end of the invoice, because if you, like, I didn't know this, but I do now, but if you accept the invoice and pay it, the money's gone. You cannot claim it back from PayPal because they're like, look, the point of the invoice is to indicate that you have been that you have paid for services that you have previously received. So if you pay off an invoice, you're basically saying, yes, I've received the service, here is the money, and PayPal will not side with you at all. So basically I ended up losing something like $60, $70 off 2 people because of this. The first person, I did it, I was waiting for the artwork back. They weren't responding to my messages, but I thought, oh, it's fine, I'll just leave it, it'll be fine. And then the second person came along, did the same thing, and I was like, look, I see a pattern here, I've lost my money. it was horrible, and I can obviously look back now and go, I was stupid, I didn't know what I was doing, I do now. And honestly, that's one of the failings of this website, is that they've got nothing in place to stop people scamming you, because it's all through third-party websites. It's awful, it's terrible, and that's one of the big issues of FURAFFINITY. And finally, there is a huge preference on the site for NSFW content. Now, I'm not against NSFW content, but if I just wanted to buy SFW stuff, like say I wanted like icons or something for YouTube or for Discord, and I had to sift through all the NSFW stuff, yeah, that's not great. There is a way to disable NSFW content from appearing, but honestly, there's stuff that still slips through the gaps because they pretty much rely on the uploader themselves to indicate whether something is safe for work or not safe for work. And yeah, you get a lot of things that slip through the gaps, and you see a lot of things that, quite frankly, if I was sort of younger, if I was under the age of 18, I would not particularly want. I don't know why they've kind of got away with that for so long, especially with, you know, sort of the furry fandom gradually getting in sort of younger members and stuff. It's just very, very bad for them because, you know, there's stuff that slips through the gaps, and by default, NSFW content is enabled, which honestly, it should be the other way around. You should have to enable NSFW content, but it's enabled by default. So if you are under the age of 18, then it's like you're just immediately given access to all the NSFW content. I mean, that being said, if you did it the other way around, there's nothing stopping people who are under the age of 18 just saying they're over 18 just to get access to the content, but at least that way you've got some sort of security against it. And honestly, in terms of content on FURAFFINITY, NSFW stuff outweighs SFW stuff so vastly. There's like hardly any SFW, like good SFW stuff on there. There's a few, there's quite a bit, and you know, if you're somebody who uploads SFW content there, that's awesome, that's great, brilliant, but there is way more NSFW content, and it's just, there needs to be some sort of middle ground to do with the two, I think, and they've not really handled that particularly well. Well, that's going to do it for my rant today. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm probably going to do another one because it was really enjoyable to make. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.